and joining me today is the legend, Sue Cook. I can't believe you sat there next to me, Sue. This is unbelievable. When they told me you was coming on the show, I thought, wow, not the Sue Cook, but you're here. Thank you. Thank you for giving up your time.
Thank you for asking me.
So talk about some of your time with the BBC, because you started, I think, in the 70s.
That's right.
Did quite a few years. And I want to just chat a little bit about how broadcasting's changed from when you started to the social media age of today.
Well, I was lucky, really, because I started at Capital Radio. I heard that commercial radio was coming to London, to England, and I thought, I love pop music and I love commercial radio. So I actually applied, copied off I had a very boring job at the Reader's Digest. So I was dying to get out of there.
Yeah.
So I clambered across some rubble in a building site that was Capital Radio's beginnings. I think I was the 7th person they took on. They said you can sit in the library and collect, information and file stories and things. So I sort of helped to build up then, because they had a newsroom to start with. So this was 6 months before they went on air. And on the day Capital went on air, which was 50 years ago, almost just 2 weeks ago, we had a big party. And the programme's controller, Michael Butt, came and stuck out a paw, grabbed me, took me down the corridor and said, I think you're going to broadcast tonight. You're going to be on the phone in. So when people phone up with problems and questions, you know where all the files are, and you've got all these organisations, addresses and things. You can tell them where they might get some help. So I was shaking so much, I had a cigarette. I smoked in those and a cup of coffee. Couldn't get either of them near my lips because I was so nervous. But then I found I absolutely adored being on air, to my surprise. It's the last thing I thought I'd ever do. So
how did you make that transition to the BBC then?
Well, after that, it was the consumer era. I don't know if you remember, in the early 70s, interest rates were something like 17%. Inflation was, I think, even went up to 24% at one stage. So everybody's mortgages, nobody could afford anything. I mean, we think we're having trouble now, but it was pretty tough then. So prices would change by the day. So they asked me to do a food price news, and I had to go to Billingsgate, which is where the fish market was, at 5 o'clock in the morning, and look and see what was coming in off the boats. I had to go into Smithfield Market and see what was coming on and what was going to be good value. And the
you see, you're talking my sort of language now, because this is, as a young lady, you were having to budget and look for the best bargains for the foods, the cheapest cuts of meat, the cheapest fish, the cheapest vegetables and stuff like that. When as a politician I say stuff like that, we've lost those skills now. I get actually lambasted and slated in the press by the left-wing media. Because
they think you're not telling the truth, or?
Yeah, I just think that, we've lost those skills that we had many, many years ago. I always bang on about people's forgot how to cook properly, they forgot how to get the cheapest ingredients, the cheapest cuts of meat, to shop around, because it's too convenient to go to a supermarket and buy everything under one roof, and actually I think sometimes you're getting ripped off.
And also, I think I don't like wasting anything.
Must have come from good parenting, from your mother, who I believe is still around in this town.
Yeah, I was going to see Mum after I've seen you.
How old is she?
She's 104. She was 104 in August. Insists on living on her own. No help, no care. She has a cleaner once a week, and my brother goes once a week, and I go once a week, and we bring her something to eat, and then leave a few leftovers in the fridge. And she survives on that.
A proud lady.
And she will not have any help. And she will not go to a lovely residential care place I found for her, where they've got 5 chefs and lots of activities and beautiful gardens. She won't go. Nope. This is my house. I've been here 50 years. I'm not moving.
Not interested in a part-time job then anytime soon, your mother?
That'd be quite good. She probably would.
I think GBNews are recruiting, actually.
She's batty enough.
Yeah. Think she'd come on here?
Well, you could try,
Can we get her on, producer?
She likes a gin and tonic.
Yeah, gin and tonic, we can sort that out. But look, seriously, Sue, broadcasting over the years, we said previously, I was speaking to you earlier about the BBC used to be a place of comfort in the 70s and 80s. You've got your Blue Peter, your John Craven's news rounds. I guess when you started as well, it was totally impartial. We didn't know which way a newsreader or a Match of the Day presenter voted, weren't interested. But now it seems to be getting a little bit political. And I don't mind broadcasters being political if they're a private company, but they're publicly funded by the taxpayer. Yeah.
Well, all I really cared about when I went to the BBC was the well-being of ordinary people.
Yeah.
And I represented ordinary people. So my job was to find out what was going on around, what was going to affect their lives, and explain it in an accessible way so that people knew what was going on and could fight back and help them with campaigns and so on. So I went from Capital Radio and the food prices thing. The BBC decided that was a good idea as well. So I got contacted by a producer to do something similar about consumerism and prices and things on a 3-month contract. I thought, well, you know, it's the BBC. To be asked to join the BBC is such a wonderful privilege.
Yeah.
So I'll do it in a 3-month contract and hope for the best. And I was freelance, but mostly for the BBC
So
ever
what
since.
do you think is the most memorable part of your TV career?
I suppose the most memorable, the most enjoyable, although I adored Capital Radio, it was so fun being part of a new thing, but the most memorable, I think, was Children in Need.
Oh, yeah?
Because again, you were doing a wonderful thing and
Making lots of money.
meeting all the big stars of the moment who would come on after whatever West End show they'd been on sometimes, or whatever soap opera they'd been on, and it was just huge fun. And at the end, at 2 o'clock in the morning, after 7 hours of live telly, which was terrifying, you'd be able to announce a massive total that people had given to make a difference to children.
That must give you a buzz for weeks, that.
Yeah, it did.
And must have been low points in your TV career as well, some horrible things you've had to report
Oh, yeah,
on.
well, the Crimewatch, there were some really upsetting crimes, particularly when it was a child who was murdered or kidnapped or sexually assaulted. Or I did it for 11 years, but after a while I began, when I found myself living in my own reconstructions in my head, I'd come and think, yeah, well, she went into the newsagent and she bought a paper and a bar of fruit and nut, and then she was last seen proceeding in an easterly direction towards. I thought, hang on a minute, you know, this is getting to me. Or looking at people thinking, they look a bit suspicious. Red hat, what time is it? Yes, I'll remember that. I thought, no, this is getting to me. It's time I left.
So you joined at a young age, spent your whole life doing this sort of work. I guess there's young people out there watching this now, maybe, that want to get into media, into broadcasting. What sort of advice would you give to them?
I would say don't do a media communications course. Do something else. Do any other course, any other training course. Bring something else to the table. Show that you can be committed to something and you can find out about things, you can investigate things. Just don't do a media communications course. You can learn that on the job.
See, you know, you hear of people they start off making the tea or working in the canteen or running about doing errands, and then, you know, 10, 15 years later, they're actually not running the place, but doing reasonable jobs broadcasting because they've learnt the ropes, haven't they?
Be humble enough to start low.
Yeah.
I think it's really important.
Well, look, Sue, we've got Wokey of the Week. We've got the trophy. That's there. So this is the part of the show where we pick 3 individuals or organisations that's been incredibly woke during the week. I've done something daft. Better put my glasses on because I can't read this. So the first, these are £1.50, these glasses are. They're 1.5s. Wokey 1 is the MI5. Has been accused of being institutionally racist against white people after GBNews presenter Jacob Rees-Mogg, State of the Nation, revealed that the Domestic Intelligence Agency was offering summer internships exclusively for non-white people. Just park that one there, non-white people. Wokey 2 is Somerset Council. I've been there. Campaigners are hitting out at a council accused of writing out women after it purged the word mother from its maternity policy. Somerset Council has announced the replacement of new and expectant mothers with the phrase new and expectant parents. And the third Wokey is James O'Brien. Now, I don't know why, but he makes an appearance every single week. He does win it sometimes.
He needs the publicity, does he?
I think he does, yeah. I think his figures are failing, so he probably needs the figures. So seriously, Sue, MI5...
They're both plain wrong.
Yeah.
They're both extremely annoying. It's just which is wronger and most annoying. I think it's the difficult one. I think probably Somerset Council, actually.
Listen, you're a woman, obviously. All this nonsense about pronouns and identity, how does it make you feel as a woman? Do you think...
absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
It's just bonkers.
You know, when you go into a local department store and you want to try clothes on, I mean, I wouldn't be happy if I'd got daughters or my missus were getting changed in a changing room next to some bloke who comes in who decided that day to put a frock on and a bit of lipstick, decided he's going to be a woman.
I mean, in reality, it's 0.0001% of the population it actually affects. But, by the fuss that's made, you'd think it was 50% of the population. It is really ridiculous. I hope it's a phase we're going through because it's mad.
So Somerset Council, get a grip. You've won Wokey of the Week, awarded by the legendary Sue Cook. Absolutely brilliant. So
I want to see it change.
It needs changing.